Roughly 4 decades have elapsed since the events I'm about to recount took place. At present, I am 43 years of age, and my memories from that time, given my tender years, are somewhat fragmented. The narrative I offer you now begins with the fragments I distinctly recall, while the subsequent details have been filled in through accounts shared by my parents. In the period in question, my father had received orders to report to Fort Huachuca, AZ. As we awaited allocation of military housing, our temporary abode was a motel. The exact location of this motel eludes me, though logic dictates it was in close proximity to Fort Huachuca, the place where my father was assigned to work. The incident that left an indelible mark on my memory unfolded on a day meant for leisure at the motel's swimming pool. My mother and I were in the midst of preparations when I, then barely 2 years old and thus incapable of grasping the concept of fear as understood by older individuals, voiced a peculiar protest. "Stop smiling at me," I declared, peering into the depths of the open closet in my mother's bedroom. What captured my gaze within that closet was the visage of a man with a notably dark complexion, his face framed by the shelf above. His eyes and teeth contrasted starkly with his skin, shining brightly. The smile he wore, though, felt unnervingly sinister to me. Believing the room might be intruded upon, my mother hurriedly suggested we proceed to the pool, a proposition I complied with. She sought the assistance of the motel's manager to inspect our room. Unsurprisingly, he found it devoid of any intruders. Upon our return from a day spent at the pool, I found myself once again in my mother's room, insistently pleading with the unseen man to cease his smiling. By then, my mother was certain the room was empty, having had it checked earlier, yet she entered to verify my claims. When I pointed out the man in the closet, she saw nothing. My father's later attempts to discern what I was pointing at also proved futile. Convinced I was perhaps mistaking an object's reflection or shadow for a face, they rearranged items in the closet to no avail. The man's unsettling grin remained visible to me alone. Even visits from my grandparents did not alter the fact that I alone could see the man in the closet each time I entered the room. Subsequently, we relocated to a residence within the military base, a transition that, to my relief, was unaccompanied by further sightings of the face. The ensuing experiences are based solely on what my parents relayed to me, detailing encounters that remained beyond my own recollection. On an occasion when we had gone to collect my father from his workplace after hours, I, still seated in the vehicle, gestured towards a figure standing near the office, identifying him as the same man. My mother, upon looking, found no one there, yet her immediate reaction betrayed a sense of urgency, prompting a quicker departure with my father back to the safety of our home. The final episode, as narrated to me, unfolded within the serene confines of an ancient cemetery. It was daylight, and my mother and I were presumably meandering amongst graves dating back to the Civil War era when I abruptly announced, "Look, that black man just fell down." My mother's attempt to locate anyone else in our vicinity proved fruitless. We were the solitary visitors in that solemn space. From ages 3 to 6, my experiences followed our stay at a motel, where I was nearly 3, given our 3-year tenure there. My descriptions of the figure as a black man puzzled my mother, as I hadn't met anyone of African descent by then. Intriguingly, my dad's workplace was on a base once used by Buffalo soldiers in the Civil War. After moving, such visions ceased. The vivid memory of the figure's head and sinister smile in the closet remains with me. I wonder if others in Arizona have had similar experiences. I'm drawn to revisit the area, curious if the visions might reappear, though skeptical. On the chilly evening of December 22, 2023, my friends and I found ourselves embarking on an unexpected adventure. With conflicting schedules looming over the upcoming holidays of December 25th and January 1st, we made the impromptu decision to host a pre-celebration bash, settling on the 22nd as the chosen date. As the clock struck 7:00 p.m., we converged at a designated meeting spot before venturing towards our destination, a dilapidated house nestled within a bustling neighborhood. Stepping out of the car, a shiver ran down my spine. The house exuded an aura of antiquity, its weather-beaten facade bearing witness to decades of neglect, its abandonment shrouded in mystery, with nature reclaiming its territory as trees and shrubbery intertwined with the structure. A glance at Amit revealed his nonchalant demeanor, urging us to venture forth into the enigmatic abode. He and I took the lead, while Deep and Rajat followed closely behind, carrying the provisions for our gathering. It had been roughly a month or two since I introduced Amit to Deep and Rajat. Unbeknownst to them, Amit was not just a casual acquaintance. He was a seasoned paranormal investigator, and I, in a sense, had become his apprentice. As the evening unfolded, we indulged in a medley of activities, sitting, strolling, chatting, sharing laughs, and engaging in the occasional puff of smoke, interspersed with bouts of jovial banter. Time seemed to slip away effortlessly until the clock struck 9:00 p.m. With Deep and Rajat needing to depart for their respective homes before 10:15 p.m., we made the collective decision to polish off the remaining snacks and beverages. Scouring the surroundings, we stumbled upon a suitable spot within a room where we could unwind a bit longer. However, scarcely had 10 to 12 minutes passed when an inexplicable sensation washed over us, an unsettling awareness that we were not alone. This realization dawned upon us, particularly Amit and myself, with a clarity that transcended mere perception. Though caught off guard, we remained poised, silently exchanging reassurances through meaningful glances. At a distance of about 10 feet from our seated circle, a shadowy figure loomed. Amit's subtle cues, conveyed through eye contact and hand gestures, prompted us to gather our snacks discreetly while keeping our cigarettes within easy reach. While I comprehended the need to pack up our provisions, the significance of safeguarding the cigarettes remained a mystery to me. Maintaining a hushed silence, we awaited the cessation of the ominous footsteps. When the sound subsided, Amit and Rajat cautiously rose from their seats, wielding their mobile torchlights to scour the adjacent rooms for any signs of intruders. Their search yielded no results, and they returned to join us, their expressions betraying a sense of puzzlement. Amit, speaking in a barely audible whisper, suggested that we wait patiently for a few more minutes, an idea to which we unanimously assented. However, Deep's patience wore thin, his frustration palpable as he perceived the evening's festivities unraveling before his eyes. Succumbing to a surge of irritation, he unleashed a tirade of invectives directed at an unseen presence, his gaze darting around the room in search of a target. Despite our attempts to placate him, he persisted in his outburst, deriding us as cowards and comparing our bravery unfavorably to that of children half our age. Continuing to seethe with anger, his words dripping with venom, Deep seized a small chicken morsel and hurled it toward the direction whence the unsettling footsteps emanated. Amit, poised to reprimand him sternly, found himself preempted by a sudden cascade of debris, bricks, bamboo, and wooden planks raining down within the room. Simultaneously, a series of forceful impacts reverberated against the closed doors and windows, not only of our present chamber, but also from neighboring rooms. To our astonishment, the atmosphere within the room grew oppressively dense, making each breath a struggle. In the midst of this escalating chaos, Rajat succumbed to the overwhelming tension, collapsing unconscious, while Deep grappled with the onset of panic attacks. A palpable sense of malevolence pervaded the air, as though an unseen force sought to assert dominance over our presence, unwelcome as it was. Deep's impulsive act only served to exacerbate the escalating turmoil. With swift resolve, Amit hoisted Rajat onto his shoulders, and I followed suit with Deep, wasting no time in our bid to vacate the increasingly hostile environment. Bearing the weight of our friends upon our shoulders, we navigated our way out of the room and eventually out of the entire structure. Despite the physical act appearing straightforward, an inexplicable sense of difficulty shadowed our every movement. Even Amit, with over 5 years of experience in such matters, exhibited uncharacteristic nervousness and palpable fear. In contrast, I found solace in fervent prayers and continuous chants, placing my trust in my chosen deity. Once safely ensconced within our vehicle, we hastily departed from the scene, the intensity of the experience rendering us speechless for days to come. To this day, we have yet to broach the subject, the unspoken agreement among us tacitly preserving the sanctity of our shared ordeal.